Tracy, they were waiting on the recording.
Okay, Mayor, start.
All right, let's call our meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Lear.
Here.
Casanello.
Present.
Tater. Larson.
Here.
Schneider.
Here.
Ramirez. Here. Morris.
Here.
Now, I guess a note on that, I didn't hear from Vice Mayor. Is she on Zoom?
She's trying.
She's here.
Okay, so just to make record, she's on Zoom.
She's on Zoom, yes.
Okay. Yep, just wanted to make record. Okay, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now we'll open up the public hearing. If you could put the announcement into record.
Okay, the Town of Haymarket notice is hereby provided pursuant to Section 58.1-3321 of the Code of Virginia that the Town of Haymarket, Virginia proposes
The public hearing, if you could put the announcement into record. It's Tracy Lynn.
No, that's you, man.
Well, reverberate.
Okay,
Tracy Lynn.
the Town of
That was your-
Haymarket.
I can hear you.
Notice is hereby provided pursuant to Section 58.1-3321 of the Code of Virginia that the Town of Haymarket, Virginia proposes
The
to...
public hearing, if you could put the announcement into record.
It's going to be a loop.
Tracy Lynn.
No, that's you, man. It's gonna be a long night.
Reverberate.
Okay.
Tracy Lynn.
The Town of
I
Haymarket.
can hear you.
Notice is hereby provided pursuant to
Finished
Section
at 8 o'clock. We were here till 11.
3321 of the Code of Virginia that the Town of Haymarket, Virginia proposes
The
to...
public hearing, if you could put the announcement into record.
It's a loop forever.
It's gonna be a long
Public
night.
hearing.
Okay. The Town of
I
Haymarket.
can hear you.
Notice is hereby provided pursuant to
Finished at
Section
8 o'clock. We were here till 11.
3321
I'm crying.
Back when I first did council meetings, we didn't have webcasts.
Yeah, I know.
Get someone who knew how to write
So,
shorthand.
shorthand. So I have to get bifocal contacts now.
I can tell because you're going like this.
Something's wrong. Jeez. Stop making fun of me.
On Naomi the other day. Told her she's not allowed on that side of the I did.
She's still dating Leland.
I said to her, hey, I thought we got rid of you. And Leland was with her, and Leland said, we allow her to come sometimes.
He treats her well. It's her birthday yesterday. She's 15.
Hey, Joe,
15.
you know, I woke up Saturday morning freaking out,
She was like, we're passing
thinking
the
that I
baby.
missed Flags for Our Heroes.
Oh, no.
Since it was Memorial Day weekend, it's June 11th.
Okay.
Just thinking that it was Memorial Day weekend, that it should be this weekend. So I totally freaked out.
Okay,
Like I
let
missed
me try this again.
Okay.
Okay, the notice of public hearing for the proposed real property tax decrease, proposed tax rates, and levies. Notice is hereby provided pursuant to Section 58.1-3321 of the Code of Virginia that the Town of Haymarket, Virginia proposes to decrease property tax levies for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Number one, assessment increase, total assessed value of real property excluding additional assessments due to new construction or improvements to property exceeds last year's total assessed value of real property by 9.62%. Number two, lowered rate necessary to offset increased assessment. The tax rate, which would levy the same amount of real estate tax as last year, when multiplied by the new total assessed value of real estate total assessed value of real estate with the exclusions mentioned above would be 0.117 per 100 of assessed value. This rate will be known as the, quote, lowered tax rate. Number 3, effective rate decrease. The town of Haymarket proposes to adopt a tax rate of no more than the rate of 0.117 per 100 of assessed value. The difference between the current tax rate of 0.129 per 100 and the proposed rate would be 0.012 per 100, or 10.26%. This difference will be known as the effective tax rate decrease. Individual property taxes may, however, increase at a percentage greater than or less than the above percentage. Number 4, proposed total budget increase. Based on the proposed real property tax rate and changes in the other revenues, the total budget of the town of Haymarket will exceed last year's by 8.06%. A public hearing will be held on the decrease on May 31st, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the Haymarket Town Hall, 15,000 Washington Street, Suite 100, Haymarket, Virginia 20169. And then on the back of that public notice was the table of proposed tax rates fiscal year 2022-2023.
There are no changes other than the real estate tax at this point in time, correct, in that fee schedule?
That is correct.
What do you do? Okay.
The council, the only update will be that the hotel, just to have a transparency, the town did not have a specific abbreviation for it. It fell under personal services, but we went ahead because the budget's coming up now. We propose to just include the abbreviation specifically for a hotel. But the rate stays the same at what it would have been if it fell under a personal service.
Okay.
I guess we'll go on to,
Why don't you just see if anybody wants to speak to it?
And
on the
discussion.
board,
No.
on the council, public, citizens' time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's time to go to citizens' comment. That's what I was gonna say. Give me a chance. Jim, I see you're the only one in the audience. Do you want? Nothing tonight? How about any emails? Kim, do we have any emails?
No, sir, nothing.
So we have no citizens' comments for this public hearing.
So Mayor, before we move on, Kim, can I just bring it to your attention, one typo on paragraph 4, exceeds, eliminate the S at the end, please. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so I guess we'll move on then. Close this public hearing. And we'll move on to the agenda items. We all set?
Yep.
Okay, monthly financial report.
Good evening, council. I'm not sure if anyone has any specific questions on the current actuals. I can tell you that there are a few items have changed for next week, as we have received the bank franchise tax, and we have collected the full meals tax for the month of April. So that will be on next week's agenda.
Which was that? Do you know how much that was?
Oh, the bank franchise tax was, actually came in at 24,163. We budgeted 25,000, so we were pretty close to what we expected. And that is just with the one bank within the town jurisdictions.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Move on to the next item, special meeting for the adopted fiscal year '23 budget.
Yes.
Start us off.
So the, what you have in front of you is a proposed schedule that I had sent out to council as a whole about a week and a half ago. Just wanted to get everyone's availability as this is what we plan on going forward when it comes to the tax rates hearings, the budget, and the adoptions of the rates and budget, as well as our end of the year amendments for our current budget. I have not heard from anyone, so I'm assuming the dates, correction. Councilman Morris, yes, the meetings are at 7 o'clock. All the meetings, all the meetings will be scheduled at 7 p.m. If there's no objection, we would like to proceed with this schedule for the next couple of weeks, up to the adoptions of the budget as stated and the amendment, the final amendment for our current fiscal 2022 budget.
So if I may, if I can ask, the June 21st meeting will be a special meeting, correct?
Correct.
And the primary reason for meeting would be to vote to adopt both the rates and the budget after we have public hearings.
Correct. Correct. Today is a public hearing for the public to have input on the tax rates, and on Monday we will have a small presentation concerning the overall budget. Again, the ability for the town residents to go ahead and give some input, feedback on what they see and hear. And then on the 21st is when the council is able to vote on the FY 2023 budget and tax rates.
Okay. And so that'll be posted. We'll post that on social media and what have you, in case anybody has last-minute comments. Okay. That's all I have.
And the budget public hearing is when? Monday?
Monday.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question concerning the notice. Is it okay to ask it?
Yes.
During the notice for public hearing, should there, and correct me if I'm wrong, should there be wording that says the tax rate can be lowered but not increased once this is approved, or this is not the place for it?
It's here.
It's there.
It's there.
It is there. On the tax rate, it actually states that we cannot increase it. We can only increase it, the ceiling is up to what we publicize.
It's on the notice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Paragraph 3, first sentence. Of no more than the rate of 0.1.
I withdraw my comment, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Council, and just as a reminder, the 21st will fall on a Tuesday. It will not be a Monday, so that meeting will fall on a Tuesday evening.
So did you have any, did you want to go over these two slides?
Well, yeah,
or-
of course. So
I thought that was later.
I will include, so what, yeah, it will be part of the budget presentation, but what I did hand out is a breakdown as to what the effects would be had we not lower the real estate tax for our town residents. You can obviously, what I did is I went down to actually breaking it down from single homes, townhomes, taking an average of those specific style of homes as how they would have been affected and what kind of cost savings it will save them on the real estate by, in theory, equalizing the tax rate to hopefully have them, everyone as a whole, pay closer to what they paid in 2021. As you can see on the report, single-family homes showed a increase of 16.04% from the prior year. Townhomes had an assessment increase on an average of 14.58%. The biggest contributor, of course, on the overall assessments of the town has been the commercial. As we all know, with the
But that's a function of new construction as
Correct.
opposed to
Correct,
actual assessments increasing.
correct.
You're going from raw land to constructed land, or,
Yep,
so the actual commercial assessments for existing properties, by and large, dropped a little bit.
correct. So this is just more of trying to show why the council had requested to work on an equalized real estate tax rate for the residents, still addressing the town's needs on the admin as well as the police department side. So it will be part of the budget presentation, but if you do have any questions on it, please let me know, and I'm more than happy to answer them.
So this is, yeah, I might as well. I mean, it's the first time we saw this. I guess we'll talk about this a little bit on Thursday. So the percentage changes for these are based on the assessment if we did nothing, correct? If we didn't lower the rate, if we kept the rate the way it was.
Yes.
Okay.
So yes.
So do we know what the rates, what the percentage change would be now that we've lowered it to 0.117? Can
So
we figure that out?
I did not do percentage. I actually did more of a money savings.
I see, yeah.
Yeah. So I did do percentage. I could work that equation out for the budget presentation and add it in there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be, you know, for me, I like to see the percentage.
Yeah. I will make a note and add it. So on the budget presentation, you will have that extra line column on it to show what the percentage is.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, I guess we'll talk about it Thursday.
Anybody?
Just on the 27th, I'll be out of town, so. Don't change your plans. Carry on. Don't take it personally, Roberto.
It's all right.
Gone but not forgotten.
Yes. Not forgotten. Okay. We'll move on then. Town council policy and procedure, the agenda change. This pretty much is to align with the July 1st new contract of the lawyer.
So we're trying
Moving
to
the
save
closed session up front, so we save money on the lawyer instead of paying him an hourly rate waiting here. To go into closed session. Yes?
That's the only thing I noted in the resolution, the ordinance, it says 6:30, but in the
Well, that,
rules, it says 6.
yeah, 6:30 is his suggestion. He doesn't think that we should, there's a need to be in closed session for more than an hour. But I know council had discussed previously that they wanted to start at 6, so that's why I put 6.
Okay.
So it's not, neither time has been set, so
Okay.
that needs to be set.
Okay. Spoke too soon, sorry.
That's okay.
Looking for opinions, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I think, personally, I think 6 o'clock, even though I'd rather not, but I think 6 o'clock would give us plenty of time in case we have multiple issues, and God knows, we get a lot of input in closed session, and we all like to share our opinions, so I would think,
Some more than others.
but I would think it'd be better at 6. That's just my opinion.
The obvious, but as needed, I assume. If we don't, we'll give advance notice, we need a closed session,
Correct.
otherwise we don't need to have it. Okay.
All right, so you will need a week ahead of time knowing that we're going to go into closed session.
And the question is, if we put down 6, we can still schedule for 6:30, right?
Right.
So I think it's best just to play with the, the amount of items we have. Keep it at 6 so we can play with that extra time. Any other questions on it?
All right, then I'll make
Okay.
the change for 6 o'clock on the ordinance, and then I'll present this again next week for a vote.
Okay. We got the personnel policy.
Yes, in front of you tonight, you will have a draft of the personnel policy manual that we are currently working on. Roberto, myself, Chief, and Councilmember Morris have been meeting to work on this over the last several weeks. This is our draft. We still have 2 sections that we're actively trying to work on. We had a little bit of a standstill with scheduling last week, so we're going to be going through the IT use of technology, so that's going to be Article 9 and addressing that. And then we'll also be uploading the appropriate appendices. You will see the appendices highlighted so that we make sure we go back and add them as appropriate. So if you'll start looking through this and just reviewing it, I would like to bring it to the June work session for a fuller discussion. And I will have the updated draft with the use of technology and the appendices attached to you prior to the work session. Let me pull up my calendar. Roughly in about 2 weeks' time. We'll get that sent over to you.
Anybody have any questions immediately? This is my first time really having a chance to have hands-on with it, so I haven't had a chance to really look it over and get any questions. But anybody up front?
Just, I guess, Emily, the high points, what were the sort of the key changes?
The high points, as we were going through it, we have modified our definitions so they're a little bit more robust. It's clearer to really understand what's being described throughout the personnel manual. There's no question on the different types of employees, whether it be full-time exempt, part-time, non-exempt, those items especially. We really looked at making sure that our equal employment opportunity section was fully addressed and appropriately updated to be current with everything. So Chief has done a lot of work in that section. So that is really the biggest point there. We had a couple other little items that were more clerical throughout, but that was the main portion. Under holidays and leave, the only thing that really got updated is the state changed it, so there are, I believe it's 2 additional holidays. One was taken away completely, and a new one was added, so we just updated those there.
And if I could just add, it was just very useful to have the town staff and our police department working together on a product representing the town instead of independently putting it forward.
That's good. Is legal review concurrently working with you on this, or is this going to be something that we just hand over at the end and say, review it and give us modifications?
That's correct, the latter of the two. We would like to get a solid draft going, so all of our comments, all of our concerns are addressed in one draft, and then we'll send it over to legal to have their final update and look at everything.
But along the way, there were a few items that were a little bit in gray area that we did check with legal just to make sure that we were on the right path before we formulated it to put it in front of council.
Have you asked for feedback from our insurance companies on any issues that deal with what might be insurance related? Because I'm sure they like to put their word in on some of this stuff too.
The one concerning the chief.
We've addressed several items. A majority of the insurance-related items have not been modified, but we will ensure that it is proper with the company and that everything is still covered and is stated appropriately.
Yeah, because when it comes to benefits, I'm sure that's a separate document, but I'm sure there are certain things you want to definitely reference over to what the insurance wants to claim as their responsibility.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, Emily, if we have comments on this, just submit them to you directly.
Yes, please, that would be appreciated. And then we will meet again as a committee with Councilman Morris and go through all of the comments and continue to address them.
Anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, the only question I have is about, is Jerry involved in this at all, the process? Jerry Shiro?
We've worked with Jerry on a couple of the items to begin addressing them. On the day-to-day updating and draft formulating, we have not involved him on those items as much.
But we have taken it and looked at other jurisdictions and how they approached it, including where Jerry is.
Right.
So it was one of the foundational bases in how to put together something that looked good, a package that looked good. Ours was dated. I think that's a good word.
Yeah, it was dated.
And so as not to knock whoever did it before, it was just dated. And especially Emily mentioned the terminologies. They weren't properly described. So that's one of the big things that we did. We just paused and went through every aspect. And we did not just look at where we are right now as a staff and as a council. We looked at our future possibly expansion. We took those into consideration.
Yeah, one of the things, and that's great, and I appreciate you guys doing all of that. That's super. One of the things I just popped in my head is rationalizing it or aligning it with the budget. You know, take a look at it from that perspective too. What are the implications of some of these policies on the budget? I mean, I'm sure you've considered that anyway, but perhaps we can look at it from that vantage point as well.
Yes,
Regular
we
time,
can.
holiday pay.
We can, and as Councilman Morrison, Emily has stated, we did look at local jurisdictions because many of them have also, due to current pandemic, have had to reassess their policies, especially with telework and many other aspects. So we did use them as reference. Mr. Shirer provided us the manual for his town, as he's part of council as well, just to get a reference. So yes, we have looked at all aspects, but we can definitely discuss that as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay. We shall move on. Building assessment report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. What you see in front of you is a local home inspection company that we approached and we asked if they could provide us with a rough estimate. The numbers that you see here for each of the town-owned buildings is the inspection fees according to square footage. So he has a standard one. We do have enough resources to have gone ahead and commissioned this to take place. I spoke with the staff and we preferred to just bring it to your attention that this is the direction that we're going. If there are any objections, we just want to hear it. But we felt like the best step to take right now is to do a proper assessment of everything that we have. And with that assessment, we'll be able to list in priority the things that, in his view, the professional's view, needs to be addressed immediately.
So how deep does this assessment go? Are we going to understand how old, the age of some of the primary systems within these, the HVAC? And everything?
Things that would be included, the age of the unit, but also the projected how long that item normally lasts for. So you'd look at a compressor. For every unit that we have for each building, you'll have a list of the age of the compressor and the approximate age that it normally lasts for. Now, that is going to help us in planning ahead, especially with our budget, to know what to budget for in the coming years. So and it is involved pictures. It's a detailed report. If you can think of what you get when you're selling your house, and all the pictures and attachments that you get, this is something very similar.
So this is essentially what you've been looking for a while.
Yes.
This is a way of doing a condition inventory of all of our assets,
Well,
essentially. Well, not all
This
of
is
the
only our
assets.
building
These are-
assets.
these are
We
the
got a hell of a
structures.
lot more than that, but,
Well, if you let me finish.
okay.
Yes, I agree. You and I, we've had this debate quite a bit, Ken and I, and there's a lot more assets, you're absolutely correct. But this is a really good start. It makes a lot of sense. As far as each building, can we get a template to see what they're going to be looking at? I mean, I imagine it's like the roof, the electrical, the mechanical.
Yeah, he does have one online on his webpage that I can forward to you.
Yeah.
He does have a sample template or sample report on his website.
We could almost turn that into a database of information for these assets.
Yeah,
right? Which is what
that's
you
what I
want.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, does this guy have any experience in commercial buildings, or is he strictly a home guy?
He's strictly home, but he does have some experience in commercial. We could not find someone that was strictly commercial, but this gentleman here lives in Piedmont. And when we reached out to him and made contact with him, he was familiar with the town. So, and the just from my experience in doing commercial inventory, it's very much the same. Because actually, most of the units that we have are residential turned into commercial. We're using them for commercial. So he's going to be able to provide us with the proper report to help us.
Does he have a PE? Does he have a PE? Professional engineering license?
I'm not 100% sure.
I think,
Yeah.
I think to Bob's point, I would think that if a repair is identified, then whoever does the repair will have to base it on commercial standards.
You've just
Everything, yeah.
different
That's
code
different.
levels of load bearing, load requirements for flooring and.
Yeah. So if one of the issues with the park building is, the trusses,
His
right?
foundations,
The
yeah.
Foundation, so he identifies a need that needs to be repaired, then we have to identify what load it needs to be able to perform at a commercial rate, something like that.
And that's a big thing with anyone who's actually doing any work on our commercial buildings. It's a commercial grade and not residential.
So any permits they pull, it'll.
Everything, yeah, it
based
would have
on
to
a
be based on a commercial building.
What about the term? How long it will take to do all the work? Any idea?
Emily, I don't think we ever discussed how long.
No, we did not fully discuss how long. I think in the original discussion, he gave us an estimated about 2-week time frame, but he would work it in. He does have another full schedule, so he would work us into that. That was-
What you've seen here, he has actually looked at all our property already. He has ventured out and looked at it, gave a quick overview, and then came up with the square footage price.
Based on square foot, okay.
What, sorry. Go ahead. What do you need, Chris, for us?
I just need your blessing. We would have done it. The staff wanted to go ahead, and we have the resources financially to go ahead and do it. I just wanted your blessing on it, that that's the direction that we're
This is
gonna
covered
go.
under the maintenance budget,
I was
Roberto?
just going to ask that question.
And I think what it does, it sets her up for future councils as there is a run-in document that's here that we can always go back to, because some of the things on that list, we will never get to it, but it sets up the town and future councils to be able to have a run-in list, what to approach during their term.
Do we have a private, sorry. go ahead.
And this, well, I was just going to make a snide comment. but- And this is good until we have an emergency HVAC replacement, right? So the money's there until the
Don't
emergency
even
comes up.
say that.
Go ahead.
But you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to start
Yeah,
somewhere.
we,
You gotta get it established.
hey, I've been arguing this with Joe for 2 years now, so more power to you. I want to go this way. I want to understand what our inventory is and what our assets, what condition they're in, what life cycle they have.
To Marshawn's question, once we get this in front of council, I think it's a council decision in order to what to tackle first. Once we get all of it collated, I don't think it is necessarily the staff or I to then approach. We may share with you the justification why we should do certain things first, but I think it should be on us, the council, that makes the decision as to what to target. Because council members may have an idea of sharing it between buildings, the route. So once we get it collated, we'll be able to share with council for,
So the improvements or the order that the inspections are done?
no, the improvements.
My question was going to be, did you see, if he's not able to do this all at once?
No, he's gonna be able to hit,
All at once?
yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you had any, if he was able, if he had to piecemeal it, if you had any recommendations on which ones to hit first?
We want to release them to go ahead and get it done, and then we can collate all the information for us as a board to look at.
Without objection?
I have no issue.
I mean, typically, if he comes up and finds something that needs to be fixed immediately, then.
And that's where he will flag it and put it, at a priority level on his list.
Right.
Okay, as Bob's saying, if there's any objections? No?
Thank you.
Then
Thank you,
move
sir.
forward with it.
Thanks for,
Okay. Mark the time. Okay, next on the list, before I move on, any other questions related to the building assessment report? Okay, we'll move on then to the DMV Select updates.
Council, I have placed in front of you the most up-to-date cost analysis concerning the DMV pilot program. For the the May numbers are actually a calculation of what we will project on receiving revenue-wise. The operational costs, it is solely on Ms. Kim, our town clerk, working the front desk, the DMV desk solely. The trend isn't looking any more positive than it was in the past. Unfortunately, it is trending down, which was obvious, knowing that we would have to close, it's going from 2 windows to 1. Though the gap is much closer, it is still showing a negative effect when it comes to the revenue versus cost. I am not sure if any other information that you guys would like to see, but I definitely just wanted to provide from the last meeting the most up-to-date info that we had, so you can all discuss the decision on the DMV Select.
so I missed the previous discussion. When is it our hard stop, our date we have to make a decision on?
June 30th.
June 30th? Okay, so we have to make a decision next week? Or the work session in June?
Or we just let it die by making no decision.
Okay.
I haven't even received the contract yet.
We have to make a decision whether to renew or not.
Correct.
Okay, otherwise it dies on non-renewal. Okay. Sorry to put,
I would prefer that you make a decision one way or another, because I think we have some returning customers that come in here 2-3 times a week. And I think we owe it to those customers to let them know what your decision is.
sorry to put you on the spot, but I remember I asked you this question before. When Remington, how long did it take for them to turn?
Profit,
Yeah,
5 years.
5 years? Yeah. When we initially did the pilot project, we had said for a year. Go ahead, Roberta, I'm sorry.
The one thing I do want to mention, I've said it before in prior meetings. The council this was a pilot program, but I just want to make everyone aware that at no time did this endanger or risk the town's operational requirements to the town residents, and when it comes to service. In fact, as you will see next week, we have being so fiscally responsible and with the budget that we, not knowing how the pandemic would turn out, we have a positive surplus, and you guys will see that in next week's budget. I think it's a little bit over 300,000 right now. This is all due also as well as businesses bouncing back after the pandemic. But just want to make that on the record that it is a pilot program, but in no way did it affect the town's operationals.
Roberta, if I gave that assumption, that I apologize. That was not.
No. But
Like
but
that,
I
I
just
think
want to
there's
make it
security
out
being-
there so everyone is aware that, though it is at a loss, it is a pilot project and the town tried it, but it.
I think we all understood that when we started the pilot program, so.
Also, I think that with just solely me doing the last month, I extended the appointment time, so I gave myself more time for each appointment. Plus, I narrowed some of the times, like Tuesdays, I'm not taking appointments all day. I'm only taking appointments from 10 to 2:30 because I want to prepare myself for after a meeting on Monday night, because I have 3 meetings a month on Monday nights. So Tuesday, I wanted to be able to catch up from Monday night's meeting, plus we have a staff meeting on Tuesday mornings. So I wanted to be able to attend that because that is my sole job as the town, as a clerk. So your commissions are going to be lower because not only have we gone down from 2 windows to 1, but I've also extended the time in between for
Appointments.
appointments.
Put you on the spot again, so thank you for indulging my questions. I just lost my train of thought. With the Remington example, the signage, do you think would be enough of would be a significant change to revenues, visibility? Okay. This was the drive-by signs, on the highway,
Directional
on the
signs.
directional signs?
Yes.
Okay. And then we've paid for
And
those
I can
signs?
tell you in 2012, when I was still in Remington, we'd have people coming in here, going into the Remington office, saying, I never knew you were here. And even though there were directional signs, I never knew you were here. And I get that every day here. I never knew you were here. How long have you been here?
Those signs we have purchased,
We didn't purchase them. They're given to us
they're given to us, okay.
by DMV.
And if we were to
And they're-
renew,
They're willing to put up 5 directional signs, free of cost, no cost to the town.
if we were willing to renew, what's the terms again for the contract? Year by year?
1 year.
1 year? My initial thinking was, the Remington example, it was determined that it was enough of a public service to accept the loss over an extended period of time. But there was the public benefit, I guess, that went from it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now, is if, unfortunately, having one person staffing is probably a challenge. But if we felt that there was any circumstances that might change, or if we felt that the directional signage might provide some added benefit, I know we were having some space challenges that might result from keeping the program, but if you guys have already talked through all this, I apologize for talking through it again, but.
Please, go ahead.
Yeah, we did, and maybe it would be beneficial watching last meeting.
Okay.
Because there were a lot of discussions concerning it, and Ms. Kim even brought some items after speaking with DMV, and some other things that they were willing to do.
Yeah, Vice Mayor. Mhm.
Yeah, Vice Mayor, I'm sorry. So that would be good, just to, that would give you a larger scope as to understanding.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kim.
Yes, and I think if you look at the chart, you see the drop in revenues starting in September of last year. I think that's when they fully opened the DMV.
No, they didn't fully open full-service DMVs until about November, but that's when you've also seen the decline in new car sales.
Yeah.
Because of the chips that were being not imported. So the production of new car sales, the production of new vehicles basically came to a stop. And people were holding on to their used cars until that came up. And so that's when you're going to start to see the decline. And most of the revenue that comes into a select like this is used car sales between private individuals. So that's where you see the majority of your commissions is in titling.
Yeah, and as you can see, there is a steady state pattern that seems to have happened since November. There's a little drop in the estimate for May, mainly because of the way we shifted our operations, like Kim was saying. So that gives you an idea of what our operational costs would be with this steady state, thinking that all the factors have finally settled into what we're going to look at. It looks like we will always see a loss unless we can really get word of mouth out there or advertisement and do get a pickup in people. But that's the risk we got to make a decision on, and if we consider this loss part of a service for the town or not. Just some thoughts. Mary?
Kim, do you find that you have appointment windows that are not filled currently? Or are your days pretty booked?
My days are pretty booked. For example, today when I looked in to see what I have tomorrow, I have 5 appointments for tomorrow. But 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, I could have that whole day filled.
Okay. Is it typical for your days to be filled? Okay.
Typically, yeah, and typically, a lot of people are making appointments the same day. They're able to make appointments same day. I had 3 of them today.
Cool.
There was slots open today. They made their appointment this morning for this afternoon.
And that's what you used to come up with this estimate for May?
What I did was I have a daily end of day report
Uh-huh.
that I have to do every day, and I added up everything from every day except for today,
Okay.
and that's how I came up with that estimated number for May.
So,
I added up all the totals of everything, above all the money that came in every day for the month of May, and took 5% of that, and that's how I came up with that number.
so it's safe to say that May is going to be like pretty, I don't know how I want to say this. May is a good picture for what we could maintain for you being the sole
Correct.
DMV. Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to bang on my drum.
Don't
We
say.
did not hire Kim to be the DMV window service operator. We did not pay Kim to be the DMV service operator. And getting to the earlier statement with respect to operational requirements and impacts going forward, if we continue with this model, then the operational impacts to the town increase. So, I mean, we either buy into the hiring more people and raising the operational cost for a diminishing return in a market that's not recovering right now, or we have Kim continue to maintain her dual role, which potentially impacts her ability to do her principal job, or we just say it was a nice experience and we lost X number of dollars, and maybe when the economy turns around and chips and vehicles are available again and the market comes back, then we rethink it again. But at this point in time, given the number of the increased number of DMV selects, the DMV main office is reopening where they claimed they weren't going to do that, and the relatively paltry sum that we get from the state for, I guess, the piecework that they sent us, I don't see it. I don't see it being fiscally responsible to continue down this road at this point in time, unless we're willing to sacrifice Kim's time as a town clerk and have her spend an increasing amount of her time as the DMV clerk.
I'm going to say this, just to clarify, to effectively run that office, you need 2 part-time people. To effectively run that office, you would have to bring in, to pay those people where they're going to be willing to stay for a long term, not leave in 6 weeks or 2 months or whatever, you probably have to pay them at least $18 an hour. To turn that around, your commissions would probably have to be somewhere in the vicinity of $4,100 a month in commissions. I've just ballparked that this afternoon.
And we haven't seen that since December.
Correct.
That's to effectively run the office. To effectively run that office, I feel that you would have to open it up to allowing walk-ins to come in. You still keep your appointment bases. Those who make appointments would take priority over the walk-ins, but you're allowed to take walk-in customers. And they may sit here for 10 minutes before you get done with whatever you've got with your appointments. But that's how I see this effectively and successfully having this office.
And Roberto, what are you considering operational expenses here? Are you prorating a portion of this building, utilities, or anything like that, or is it strictly salaries?
This is strictly, the initial 17,794 is for the setup, the construction, some of the time, as I've mentioned, up to October of last year, we were not tracking Dolores this time. Obviously, Dolores, at the time as Dolores, she was solely working DMV. Initially, though, she was supposed to be a portion of the work to shadow Ms. Kim to become, the deputy clerk position and do DMV. So those costs are not attributed to this report, as well as we were not tracking our town clerk of council's time as well that she spends on there, or at the time the town manager, Mr. Kuhn, he did cover 1 or 2 shifts a month, but we did not track his time as well there. Obviously, my time is not in there, sir, because I am the finance person, so I have to put my hands on everything. So I did not calculate my time in there, but yes, this is as much as I can give you, and these are also all-in costs, not just the hourly wage. This is the FICA, the benefits, anything that has to do with that one employee. So this is what it would be.
Just wanted to make you guys aware of the funny money that is just accumulated within here, utilities and stuff, which everyone always ignores.
That's a weird
Funny money?
turn of phrase, yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. You got your
It's
buckets
part
of
of your
money. You should
operational
be
cost.
pulling it from the buckets. It's all being let on as an
Well,
operational
and
cost.
Remington, at one point in time, Remington was able to start and pay rent to the town of Remington.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at.
DMV would pay rent to the town of Remington for that space.
Exactly.
DMV commissions built the town of Remington's new town hall from their commissions. However, that took, 14 years for that to happen,
Yeah.
you know.
But just trying to give everybody a full picture, make sure that they fully have all the data they need and an understanding of what we're facing here.
I think in a perfect world, my heart would like to keep this office. But in a perfect world, we would have cars. DMV would have kept their end of the bargain as far as keeping the appointments, and everybody would be running on the same playing field as far as appointments. But it's not the case now. And there are no cars out there to buy, and when you buy them, good luck. But we're not running in a good scenario right now to have where we could even break even. And I would have to spend probably the next 3 months in training 2 part-time people. Yeah, they go for a week's training or 2 weeks training, but it still falls back on me on the day-to-day.
You had a question?
No, I just did a back of the envelope rough calculation, and it gets to Kim's point about the break even. So even if you carve out the capital investment, the initial capital investment, we're a little over 7,000 in the hole right now. And if we continue at the pace of May, it'll take about 3 years to break even, roughly. I mean, who knows? I don't have a crystal ball. We don't know. If you hire people, to Bob's point, it could have an impact operationally unless we do hire some folks. Will those folks generate additional income? Probably, but how much? No idea. I mean, we could go with some historical numbers, but just the back of the envelope, it'll take 3 years to break even if we stay at this pace in May. And then if you add in the initial capital investment, we're talking about 24,000 in the hole.
In the hole?
In the hole. The good thing is that we can reuse those assets, and that's what we looked at. But still, if you're looking at it from a financial perspective, it's 24,000, and that'll take 11 years to break even. So just something we just did the math on. Somebody can check it if they want.
That's right. Pretty soon Roberta can have a window for people to come in and bring in their applications and payments, right?
We talked about that.
Any more comments, questions? Everyone got what they need?
I guess, Mr. Mayor, do we want to make a formal position next week? Or do we want to,
It's going to stay on the agenda till you make a decision.
okay.
Yeah, mainly because we need to do something by June 30th. Either let it die by attrition, right, of not making a decision, or making a decision which is advisable, as Kim was saying. We have patrons here who rely on us, and it would be best to get word out to them that they're going to have to change their routine
Versus waiting till.
instead of just shuttering
Well,
the
so wait-
door.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I think we need to make a decision on it publicly. That's my opinion. I think we need to
Next
publicly
meeting.
make a statement for those for or oppose, and make it be known that's a decision we're individually standing behind.
No problemo.
So look forward to next week.
Okey-doke.
Do we want to call that something different, this DMV contract renewal
As a line item for it?
as a line item in the agenda?
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Okay, I guess we got the planning commission and ARB vacancy announcements.
Yes, so you'll find in your agenda tonight that we've had one planning commissioner resign. His term expired June 30th of 2022. He has resigned effective May, so we do have an open position. Also, you'll find 2 ARB letters attached, and we have one term that was expiring on June 30th, and we had another member who put in a resignation since they will be relocating out of the area. So we do have several openings. We just want to make you all aware of this. Please encourage your neighbors, other citizens to apply. Again, 2 ARB openings and 1 planning commission opening.
And the planning commission is a term expiration, and they plan on ending at that term expiration?
They have ended a month early for
Letter of
their
resignation.
term. So that would be a new 4-year term for the planning commission. And then for the ARB, it would be 1 4-year term. And then it would be completing a term for 1 year that would expire in June 30th. So finishing out a 1-year term. So if there's somebody who might like to try it, we do have 1 position for ARB that has a 1-year term that needs to be filled out.
Anybody have any, do we have any applications?
We do not yet at this time.
So I think the challenge with the ARB with losing 2 members is we're going to have, we all got to be able to attend every month, or we're going to have a quorum issue. We'll be down to 3 members. So the newsletter that goes out, is that already going out?
It will include it all in there,
Okay.
the applications on the
Um,
website, we can do postings.
Can we do anything at the farmer's market?
Oh. We certainly can. We can maybe get some volunteers from the ARB and the PC to come and kind of advertise and put that out there.
Put a poster board together? So,
Maybe we could do like a QR code, like just print one and put
that's
it
a
in
little
like a frame.
complicated for me, but I appreciate
You have a
that one.
It's an
smartphone.
auto-generated.
We can print a stack of applications too.
Smartphone does not indicate that the owner is smart. It's the phone that is
Okay,
smart.
we don't need to go down there, but I need some help with that technology. But, no, it is a serious
Ask your
issue.
kids,
What's that?
ask your kids.
There you go. Yes, Naomi would know how to do that. On a serious note, it is an issue. I'm hoping with the amount of new residents that we're getting, we'll expand the volunteer pool. We got people on Long Street.
I've reached out. I CC'd you on
Retract
those
that
emails,
statement.
on the email, right?
Hey, you're part of the enemy now. You're supposed to be sitting on the other side of
I'm on the
campus.
south side of the tracks, I guess, on the north side of the tracks. But I know Sheridan did try to reach out to some folks that politely turned down, so I think a lot of it's probably just messaging. and trying to understand the commitment. And people say, well, I have no background in that, so we can certainly have capable staff that can get them the training. But you're looking up for that, so I would appreciate everyone's help if you're out talking to folks, and the commission as well. So,
Are there any other questions on that topic?
I do not.
I do have one agenda item to add. I do apologize, it's not on here. We need to seek authorization for noticing 2 public hearings for the town council, so we wanted to talk through dates with the town council. Those are items, a public hearing for the zoning text amendment that was initiated by the town staff. It went through the planning commission and needs to just have a public hearing with the town council. And then the second item is the planning commission cannot meet on June 21st and would like to entertain a joint public hearing date on June 27th or June 28th with the town council in regards to the Bean rezoning, comp plan amendment, and the zoning text amendment discussion.
So your public hearing would be that date as well,
Yes,
the 20,
Have a joint public hearing
on the 27th?
yes.
with planning commission and your budget amendment
Night.
on the 20th.
Without objection, I would direct staff to proceed that way.
First, I guess it needs to be an agenda item. Without objection, you want to put this on the agenda?
No objection.
Okay, no objection. While we're talking about agenda, I apologize, but there wasn't anything on there for the town manager report. I know you had an item. Chris, did you want to talk to that tonight about the audio-video system?
No, I'll wait until next week.
Next week?
I'll just pull it from the consent agenda and discuss it.
Okay. Then, okay, text amendment, you pretty much already said it. Since it's on the agenda now, is there any objections for them to move forward with the text amendment and the joint planning council meetings?
So
27th.
Would they
right?
both happen on the 27th? Is that my under? Okay.
That's correct. So what we would do is, on June 27th at 7 PM, we would start with a joint public hearing for the Bean rezoning, zoning text amendment, and CPA that all goes together for 6712 Jefferson Street. Once that public hearing is completed, Planning Commission does their decision discussion as necessary. That meeting would close out, and then the Town Council meeting would hold their 2 public hearings. Is it 2 or 1? There are 2 public hearings, one for the town-initiated ZTA, which was a cleanup of 4 minor items in our zoning ordinance, and then the other public hearing that we have already discussed. Right, that was the third, the amendment,
What's the third one?
his amendment.
Oh, the budget, the
Budget amendment.
fourth quarter budget amendment? Okay.
Right.
long hot summer.
The Bean one is joint though, for the planning commission, so that one goes first.
Chris, you have a question?
Yes, sir. The only concern is, doesn't the ZTA require more time than a regular meeting?
For our
zoning,
town-initiated, so our town-initiated zoning update is 4 minor things. So we were able to complete it with the planning commission in one evening. We did not have anyone come speak out about that. We might for the town council meeting. But what it was a modification of the personal services definition. It was the addition of site regulations in the C1. It was the removal of food trucks in the conservation zoning district, and it was the addition of personal service retail uses in the I1. So it was 4 very minor updates for the ordinance change. General cleanup that happens after a bigger ZTA like we did back in the winter.
Okay, okay. I'm fine with it, sir. If, just my opinion. For me, I'll be fine with tackling those 3 amendments on Monday.
Okay, any more questions before we? Okay, then, are there any objections?
Marchant, you'll be the only one that won't be here, is that correct?
Correct, I'll be out of town for that meeting.
You'll have to submit comments.
Okay,
electronic means.
So we'll move on then. Uh, We decided there was nothing for closed session for
Correct.
this meeting, right?
Correct.
Okay, next item is adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second? Did you have something to say, or were you just trying to jump in before Bob?
No, the closed session for next week, did we discuss timing and everything? Or is
That's not
it's
gonna
needed?
Per our rules, we're gonna have to do it at the end. Or we can do whenever we want, but
But the meeting doesn't start till
the
7.
meeting doesn't start till 7 for next month.
So it's best to do it at the end because you have a public hearing next week for your budget.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I got a motion on the floor
And a second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.